Hello and welcome to the King's Forum podcast show. I have two very special guests back on the show. First time, Nicole. Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on the
Hello.
show. And it was short notice, I know, when I messaged you, so I appreciate it.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm here. I'm here.
Char, welcome back.
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Happy 2022,
good
both of
point.
you.
Another episode of Char and Mike keeping it real. So Char, take it away. What are we talking about today?
So today we are talking about lessons learned from 2021. So I can briefly state that, the last few years have been, particularly hard for everybody in some shape or another, with this pandemic and our own personal lives. And I think it's a great topic to discuss. What have we learned within ourselves from 2021? So, Mike, I'm going to jump straight in on you and tell me about your year of 2021. How was it for you, and what did you learn?
It was a tough year. It was long COVID and dealing with that, dealing with the symptoms, which were very challenging. And thinking after getting COVID, I thought I would be back on my feet within 3 to 4 months, but this has continued, ongoing into this year. And, the migraines, extreme fatigue, IBS I've got because of it. It's been a challenge, and aching joints and all sorts of symptoms of this, the aftermath of having COVID. So dealing with that's been very difficult for my mental health and well-being, and not getting down when I have those moments, because I go through spells, the whole spoonies thing where spoonfuls of energy and making the most of those spoons those spoonfuls of energy you have. So I think the biggest lessons I've learned is drop the expectation of yourself, like be realistic, stop putting so much pressure on what you want to achieve and doing just getting on with life. I think you just got to be realistic, because the after effects of pushing yourself, it's just not worth it, because I've burnt myself out and been on the verge of breakdowns last year and all sorts, because I just wanted to go the extra lengths in my life and push the boundaries, and setting unrealistic goals and expectations for myself. And I think it's just having a good communication with your body and with yourself, and listening to that. And I think my biggest lessons is learning to listen and pacing myself, and and stop being so self-critical. Because yes, you have the outside factors of people around you, family, my wife and stuff, who want me to get on with stuff as well. But at the end of the day, it's about you being realistic with you and setting those boundaries and saying, no, wait a minute, okay, you may want me to help with this, but this is how I'm feeling, so I can't today. But when I do have some energy, I'll try and do that. And that's the biggest lessons, is just take your time, listen to your body, listen to your intuition's another thing. I haven't been listening to my intuition enough, which guides me. And I've been, as I said, the outside factors or influences, I've been ignoring my intuition when that's been my guiding force. So it's listening to that and just being more realistic about your expectations and pacing yourself. Because I've started this year getting on with stuff, but I paced myself and being realistic by taking day by day, and just saying, okay, right, all right, today I'll try and do a bit. I'll reach out to these people. I'll do that. So there's no pressure. I've taken that pressure away. I've put my ego to the side about kind of what I want and how I see myself. And it's rather just about, let's work on me and pacing myself this year. We'll get around to it, because I know that it's believing in yourself more that you'll get there, rather than all the pressures that you apply to yourself. So yeah, that's my biggest lessons. Listen to you and work on yourself first before you know, you can start to help others. You need to help yourself first. And, you know, if you want people to see the best version of you, you need to give yourself time and look after you.
I think it's also very normal when we're not feeling great. Sometimes it is very normal to sometimes not listen to our bodies and our mind, what it's telling us. And then what we tend to do is distract ourselves. So in the sense of, for example, we could be trying to help everybody else but ourselves. And what happens is sometimes we go into this boom and bust. And I think you done a lot of that, didn't you, last year? It's like you do so much at once and then you'll be burnt out for like however many days.
Wow.
And it's a case about, you know, pacing yourself. It's like saying to yourself, okay, what can I do for today? Do you know what I mean? If you can do more than what you plan, like the little amounts, then great. If you can't, then leave it for another day. It's about prioritizing what is the most important thing. And naturally our minds and our body are, you know, top priority, but it's about, you know, listening to ourselves is just as, you know, important as you know, doing what we need to do. So I think you know, learning to actually take a step back and say, you know what, no matter how much I keep myself busy, no matter how much I do A, B, and C, my body and mind are still telling me, like, sit your backside down and just rest. You know, that's definitely a boom and bust is definitely something that a lot of us fall into. We do so much. I don't know about yourself, Nicole. Have you ever found yourself in a boom and bust situation?
That is my life. Like, I suffer from chronic conditions, so everything Mike's saying, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I'm a spoonie, I get it. And it is, you know, to echo what Mike's saying, it is about the balance. It's about, you know, having that balance of reality and being optimistic and meeting yourself where you are, because whether you've got a chronic condition, a long-term condition, we're all going through something, and sometimes it's just enough to meet yourself where you are on that particular day, and that's fine and that's okay. So yeah, what Mike's saying, I definitely relate to, and I've had to strengthen that last year especially, and I take that into this year. But for me, it's not there's never an end goal. There's always an end goal, but it's a continual process, because life changes, challenges change, your health changes, and there is never I'm at that point. It's always a continuous journey. So we need to be kind on ourselves, you know, and as a parent as well, I have those additional challenges, because it's hard parenting. It's hard.
Yes.
Especially when your health is not 100, whether that's physical or mental, holding down a job, like it's just hard. So you have to meet yourself where you are. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I've pushed myself, like I've said before, Superwoman has to take the cape off. And I've had to really learn that I'm still Superwoman when I'm resting, you know, I can take the cape off and just chill. But it's hard. It's hard to chill. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy.
If you have a child to raise, it's like you're not allowed to be unwell. You're not allowed to relax like you want to. You can't just say, do you know what? You can do dinner yourself. You can't do and like yourself, I have conditions as well. So as you said, it's like how you feel day to day. And it's like having to it's having to make time to actually say, right, it's my time now, you know, you know, because if you don't, you will fall as that boom and bust. And I can definitely resonate with you. You know, as a single parent as well, you know, children, they are your priority and always will be. But we do, so, you know, you've got like as soon as we have our cape on, we forget about ourselves until they're sorted. And then it's like you want to sit down. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but it's like I could have a day of just doing everything indoors or work or whatever else. And then by the time it's my time, it's like you just want to go to sleep. You don't want to deal with anything.
And then,
And
you know,
he's,
if you've got a partner or you're trying to keep up a social life, that's a whole other element as well, you know, because you've got to tailor make to them as well. It's a really hard balance.
it's like
So you've
stretching
got to be
yourself, isn't it?
vocal. You've got to be vocal. Like I never used to be vocal, but now I am really vocal about it. Vocal, like, you know, not today, or I can't today. Maybe I can tomorrow, you know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, especially when you're in, like, I've never heard of this boom and bust term, but it's really resonating with me. But especially when you live like that as well, it's really hard to let people down, because as you said, you like to keep busy, and, you know, it's better to sometimes to do everything else but you. So it's hard to let people down, but, you know, we have to let others down before ourselves. That's the way we've got to be sometimes. You know, we come first. We have
Absolutely.
that's how we give. That's how we give to others.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if they're your people anyway, they'll understand.
We understand 100%.
If
People,
they're not,
you know,
if they're not your people and if they don't understand, they're not your people.
yeah, 100%, 100%. I agree.
You know,
I agree.
we got to surround ourselves with people who care about us and can understand, you know, what we're going through, and realize that, you know, because at the end of the day, we just try and do our best, and that's all we can do. And beyond that, where people have expectations of us that we should be doing things or should be doing that, you know, it's not for them to have that. It's for us to have, you know, realistic expectations of ourselves.
Yeah. I think what I learned, one of the many things I learned from last year, is that the amount of effort that I would put into everybody else, I had to use that same amount of effort and energy into me.
Yeah.
And even if that meant kind of taking time out from socializing with friends, you know, doing what I would usually do, it's about, okay, do you know what? Just tell certain friends or family, do you know what? I'm not available unless it's an emergency. I'm not available. I need time out, you know. And I think, use, you know, the energy you give out, you have to give to yourself. If, you know, if you don't give it to yourself first, you cannot, you know, really help people like you want to help them. And I think also as well, if you have a lot going on in your life, and your circle of friends have stuff going on too, as great as it is to open up and talk to them, it's also important to be mindful of the fact of do they have that mental space? Are they in a position where they can actually listen to me like I need the support that I do? Because if somebody's going through something themselves, you don't, some people, you know, if you're really true to your friends, you don't really want to burden them. Do you know what I mean? So you might kind of give them an overview, but it's important to recognize that, okay, hang on a minute, they're going through a lot of stuff themselves. Are they in that mental space where they can, you know, support me as well as me supporting them? And if they're not, you have to kind of just, you know, find another tool temporarily, whether it be gym, writing in a diary, whatever it is that, you know, that will help you, you know, let whatever's bothering you out of your system. You've got to clear it out, if that makes any sense.
100%. I agree. Totally. I totally agree.
You know, and I don't know as well about you, Nicole, but I take medication daily for, you know, the conditions that I have. And that alone is like, it's like the side effects alone. It's just tiring.
And that's the thing as well, because you take medication to help the symptoms, and they give you symptoms on top of the symptoms, and it's really hard to manage. Like fatigue for me is horrendous.
I hear you.
Absolutely horrendous. And sometimes, you know, I don't have that mental capability. Like, I'm a huge advocate, like especially amongst my friends, I'm that kind of go-to person, but my friends now know, because I communicate to them, I don't always have the mental capacity to, you know, deal with you right now. They know my phone's on silent, like my phone's on silent all the time, because I'm such a yes person. I've had to make these changes to kind of you know, put things silent. Yeah, taking medication is a huge thing, and that's a life that people don't always understand. It's not the same as just taking a aspirin or ibuprofen because you've got a headache. It's a constant chain, it's a constant state, and it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. And Mike, you're experiencing it yourself, but without medication. You know, you had COVID, which is now long lasting, and it's like, so you know, you're struggling with this, you know, the side effects of, you know, when you had COVID. You know, so it's going to have a big impact on yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because some conditions, you know, or viruses that we may have contracted, like COVID, you know, even if you're not taking medication, you know, that just your body trying to get better, it can be a struggle. And I think we've all can say that, you know, just our health alone, when we're struggling with something, that is just draining. That's enough to make you want to, I don't know about any of you, but I wake up sometimes, I think, oh, I could just go back to sleep.
You can't because you're in pain, so you can't.
That's daily. That's daily for me, man. I just want to go back to bed, but then I'm like, look, let me just get on with something, because I'll feel better for it anyway. So, as I said, these are the lessons you learn, don't you, from things you've gone through, from your trauma. It's reflecting on it and saying, you know, what have I gained from it? What can I learn? And that's what I do through life. So ups and downs, the great times, the bad times, you know, what have I learned there? What can I take from this experience and move forwards and you know, be a better version of myself and become a better person. And that's all I do, because, you know, you have your down times, and really, you know, realistically, the bigger picture is, it does affect your mental health. And, you know, when you're having these, you know, bad periods of health and things like that. But then, you know, the brighter side is, you know, we learn from this. You know, it's painful, it hurts us, but we're learning and we're gaining and we're evolving all the time. And that's how I look at it. And that's the brighter side for me, is no matter how bad things get, you know, what is this teaching me? You know, how can I help others from my pain? Or, you know,
there's a message in everything.
It's a message.
There's a message.
Pain is
you know, when I had COVID back in October, well, I had a chest infection. I literally a cold to a chest infection, and that wouldn't clear up, and 2 sets of antibiotics later. And I thought, okay, maybe starting to get back on track again. And then bang, I got struck down with COVID. And the lesson that I learned in all of that was patience, because I was frustrated. I lost my sense of smell, and that was irritating me. You know, my partner would tell you, I was like, I'm smelling vinegar. I'm trying to smell everything I can, like 2-3 times a day. And I just felt wiped out. And I'm thinking, well, where did this all come from? Because, you know, usually I'm quite healthy in that sense. And I was trying my magic potion drinks that I make to help with colds and chest and everything. Nothing was working. And then, I know it sounds a bit, people might think it sounds a bit crazy, but when I realized that the lesson was patience, and then I learned to sit myself down and say, you know what, just relax, because you know what, you're not being patient with yourself, and you're going to I've got sick because I'm constantly on the go. I'm, you know, rushing, want everything done yesterday instead of just bit by bit by bit. And in a minute, I kind of acknowledged that and changed my mindset. I then started to heal. To know what I mean? I thought, okay, this is patient. And then from there, it's like ever since then, I do try to be a bit more patient with what I need to do and not stress. But it's it's easier said than done. But that's the message I learned, and it's amazing how when you realize the message that's been sent to you, it's amazing then how once you accept that, the healing process actually starts to speed up.
It does. That acceptance of the situation and what's going on, you know, that understanding of it. And it definitely then it communicates to your body. You're right, the healing process seems to speed up because of that. You know, when we're not accepting and we're just trying to, you know, dismiss it all, or what we're going through in the whole process of it all, is when it becomes a struggle, and then it has that impact and affects your mental health and things like that. So yeah, it's that acceptance, it's that understanding. Yeah, definitely.
So what would you both say then, as much as lessons are important, what is one of your biggest highlights of 2021? And just switch it up a little bit, because I think it's important to, you know, always, you know, whether it be a negative lesson you've learned or a positive lesson you've learned, it's also great to, you know, speak out about one of your greatest highlights of the last you know, the last year, because especially in this, you know, situation the world's in right now, a lot of it is most of it is negative. And when we when something positive does happen to us, we don't always process that. It's like our brains process the negativity a lot quicker than, you know, instead of actually embracing the positivity. So
yeah,
Nicole, what would you say one of your biggest highlights of last year is?
my biggest highlight would have to be setting up my Instagram account. So I set an Instagram account, which is how I've connected obviously with you guys. And it's about my chronic conditions, and you know, so I have endometriosis, adenomyosis, and PCOS. And I set up an account in March, and I just knew I just wanted to talk. I can talk, but I didn't have a lot of confidence. So I just set the account up, and for me, just kind of putting myself out there and elevating my truth. Like, I can talk truth to myself, I can do it in my circle, but to do that outside of your circle and your comfort zone is a totally different ball game. So I'm really kind of proud for doing that, and the lessons I've learned, the people I've connected with, the knowledge I've gained is immense. Like, I've gained so much in that, you know, 9-10 months of that account than I have of 20 years of pain, you know, and it's just been a massive benefit. It's just, yeah, it's been amazing, absolutely amazing. And I'm really proud of myself. Like, I'm so proud of myself. And we don't say that enough. Like, some people, you know, it's okay to say, I'm proud of myself, I smashed that. Like, it's not egotistical. Like, we're allowed to blow our own trumpet sometimes. 100%. You know,
we should, honey.
We talk about pain so much. Everybody wants to hear about pain. Everyone wants to hear about trauma, but not everybody is really accepting to hear triumph and a win. And everyone's win's different. You know, a pain-free day for me is a win. You know, it's
cycle. Sorry, not cycle. Your circle. Sorry to interrupt. Your circle around you, that will, you know, play a big part as well, because 100. When you transition, when you evolve, like you've evolved, you've gone onto the Instagram, you know, you took that step forward to open up publicly to people that you don't know, to share something that you live with every day. So then you start kind of like, your circle of people will change. So the more you're doing the new things, the more you will attract more positive people, and things like that. So it's always also being mindful of the circle of people that you're around. You know. So yeah, you should be. I said, I'm clapping you again. You should be so proud of yourself.
You know, I'm really proud of myself, and I've met you guys through it. You know, and we've all got a story, and even though our stories and our journeys are all so different, there's always a common connection. Like, vibes don't lie, like truth doesn't lie, heart doesn't lie. Like, you always find your people. And sometimes it's a different walk of life, but you know, through this I've met, because I used to think I didn't like people. I honestly used to think I didn't like people. I didn't need anyone else in my circle, didn't need to know anyone new, and then here I am. You know, so it's again, I'm learning more about myself, and the more I speak about my truth, I feel like every time I talk about truth, I release the pain. Because remember, stress is disease within your body, it's dis-ease, and the more I kind of release and talk and be open, it's not only I'm embracing myself and, it's just nice to flow and just be like, this is me, this is me.
Well,
So
in a game, as they would say, once you go up a level, it's completely different. Do you know what I mean? So you've really gone up so many different levels. You've evolved so much in a short space of time. So
yeah,
more, you're going to attract a lot more positive things because you're giving out so much.
100%.
All you should do is just continue being, yourself and be true to you. And because the more you keep doing it, the more your blessings are going to come. The more
100%.
come.
And that's all we need to be. We only need to be ourselves. There's so much pressure in society with the social media and to kind of be someone else. No, you're like, we're miracles sitting here. Everyone that's born is a miracle. We are deserving, and like, we rock. Like, we actually rock, and it's just best to be yourself,
I totally agree with that. And it's
What
nice
about you, Mike?
yeah, there's some similarities, and I can relate definitely to what Nicole was saying about, having your voice, speaking your truth. And the biggest highlight was setting up this podcast and connecting with people like you, Char, Nicole, Rafa, all the other great guests I've had on my show. It's been great. It's been magical. It's the difference, just connecting with new people and having your voice and what that opens up. And it's opened up a different world, a new world for me, but a world I didn't think I could exist in, because I never thought I'd be the face of something like this. I was planning for someone else to do it when I put the idea together. So it was never going to be me the face of it all, because, I like to be sociable or whatever, but I don't like to be the main person or the spotlight. So like me having my voice and getting out of my comfort zone, and it's great. This has been the best thing, definitely, that I've done, and the connections I've made have been the highlight of last year, definitely. And because I'm learning all the time, I'm meeting people like yourselves. I'm learning from you and you guys, and it's helping me evolve as a person. And it's seeing the world through other people's perspectives, and there's so much to be gained from that, so much knowledge to be had out there, without having to read a book. Just life through life experience, like the biggest learning you can have. So it's been great. It's been a great journey, and it's ongoing, and there's a lot bigger things to come from this. But within that, again, it's pacing yourself. So yes, because my brain is constantly, the way I work, I've got all these massive big ideas to do this, but then I've got to be patient and realistic and say to myself, you know what, I have to do it bit by bit, step by step, take baby steps to that goal. And you're right, it's never an end goal, because the thing about us as human beings anyway, we set something, then we want the next thing. Then we want the thing after that. We never just, and maybe that's what we need to learn as well as human beings. It's okay to be content.
Oh gosh, yeah. My mom said that to me the other day,
Okay. What's wrong with that? Isn't there some happiness to be in contentment? But we always feel we need more, and we have to go for more and aim for more. And isn't it okay just to be happy with what you have? And that's another thing I've learned as well, that chasing, and all my life I've been the same. Even as a kid, growing up, I've always been, I need this, I need that, I need to go for the, what about just sitting and enjoying where you are and being present and saying, I'm grateful for what I have. And gratitude. Why is that enough? Is it around me? Family, outside influences, society who's saying that I need to be aiming for this or aiming for that? Are these people with everything happy? No, most of the time they're not, because that's not what they really want. They just believe they have to keep on pushing and keep on going for things. So maybe just be present and sit with what you have and be grateful and enjoy it and appreciate it. Because that's a lot of the time is why we overlook things and don't really realize what we have until it's gone. It's because we're not there and we're not present at the time. We're too busy chasing other things and not just sitting and appreciating what we have, and which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to be, you know, mediocre. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with being average?
No, I hear that, and it's personal perception as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite a personal thing. So what might be mediocre to you is not mediocre to me.
Exactly.
You know, there's always someone believing in us, you know, someone rooting for us, or someone slightly jealous. Like, you know, there's always, it's all personal as well. That's the thing. And no one else can define what's personal to you. No one else can do that.
But they'll try to.
Of course they will. And that's when we feel the pressure, though.
They'll try to.
My account, I remember, like, there was a lot of women that I was following, and it was like, you know, like the fluffy socks and cup of tea, and I was like, this is not me, but I wanted to try and do it because I thought that's what we do. But no, that's not me, so I don't do it.
Be authentic. Be authentic. I keep on mentioning this in previous episodes as well, about my negative feedback on this podcast being the best feedback I got. I keep on mentioning that because what's that?
It always is.
Yeah, because you know what it does? That self-doubt I had from it was amazing. It was my way of moving forward. That self-doubt where it put me back for a while, and I had to sit with that and wonder why I had this imposter syndrome, this you know, lack of belief in myself, you know, thinking I wasn't good enough for this, thinking I was, you know, I wasn't qualified to do something like this, thinking it was going to flop, thinking, you know, I wasn't going to have enough subscribers, I wasn't going to have enough likes, I wasn't going to have enough positive comments, you know, it wouldn't get anywhere. All of that is important to have, because before you can, you know, move forward, you need to take a step back and just sit with, you know, where you are and be present with what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve, and what is your aim with what you're doing. So that's what it did. And the negative feedback I got made me sit with me and really look at what I'm trying to achieve. So it really helped me. It helped me to move forward, because it made me look at what is really important about what I'm trying to do here. What do I want to get from this? What is my aim? And you have to look at that. You have to, you know, and, you know, when you get these negative points of view where people are saying it's boring, it's not what they want to look at, you know, it would never work, you know, you don't know what you're doing, all this type of things, you know, you need to use that as your fuel, you know, the catalyst to move forwards and keep on pushing. Because at the end of the day, you know what you want from what you're doing. Yeah, so people on the outside can always be like, oh, I don't rate this. You should be doing more controversial subjects. You should be, whatever it is, you should have more celebs on your show. You know, what do you want from it? And that was the biggest thing I gained from that, was me looking at me and saying, you know, what do I want from this experience? Not what people want from it, but what can I give people from this? What learning is there to be had from what I'm doing? Would I look back in 10 years' time and say, what was I thinking? Or will I look back and saying, yeah, at that point, you know, I did that with love. I wanted to make a difference and help others, not that I just did it for clicks and to be popular. I did it, and there's some legacy to be had from what I'm doing, so I can look back and not be ashamed and show family or kids, my kids or whatever, that look, I did something to be proud of, because I stayed true to me. And that's what we can say, you know, and want others to do is stay true to you, and no matter what's going on around you, be you. Because, you know, yeah, and trust in you and trust in yourself. And, you know, that's the biggest lessons I've learned from this, is that, as you know, even when it's not as popular as you want it to be, or, you know, the success isn't there yet, stay true to yourself. You know, because down the line, you don't want to wake up one day and ask yourself, who am I and what am I doing?
Yeah. I agree totally. It's purpose over popularity, you know?
Yeah.
So, well, we're going to come to the end of this podcast now. So I want to say thank you to you, Nicole, for taking the time out to come and and
Thank
speak your truth.
Mm.
Please continue what you're doing. You know, you are meant to be doing this. Mike, I'm proud of you as well.
Oh, thank
You know, continue doing what you're doing and listening to yourself finally. And I think all we can do is just take the lessons that we have all learned. Sorry, my jaw's just broken. Oh, there we go. Yeah, take the lessons that we've learned from 2021 and just run with it for 2022. You know,
100.
so followers, thank you for tuning in and listening to the podcast. We shall see you guys soon.
Yeah, people, please like, share, and subscribe. Nicole, thank you again. Char, thank you. And see you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you.
Bless.